Okay, Cole, the polls have been closed for about an hour and a half now. How do you think it's gone?
From our point of view, very well. In fact, the turnout's been, I think, it's exceeded what we thought we might get. Obviously, normally at a general election, we're hoping to hit 70%, but we've fallen a bit short of that. Here in Lincoln, a year ago, local elections, it dropped away as well that we had earlier this year. But actually, certainly with postal votes last week, we were up at 70%, and some of the polling stations I visited today said that they were thinking it's going to be well over 70% of the turnout today. So, yeah, I think a lot of people have come out to vote, and that's what any referendum is about. And this referendum has certainly given the people the chance to have their say on the very important issue about whether we stay in the EU, or as I prefer, we leave the EU as soon as possible.
And how confident are you of a Leave victory?
Well, you're obviously fighting to win a campaign. Unfortunately, I do know, obviously, here in Lincoln quite well. I know my constituents quite well, and I think we'll get the result that I want here in Lincoln. But unfortunately, Lincoln's not the whole country. So I've been involved in the campaign across Lincolnshire and the East Midlands. Been doing a lot of campaigning myself, speaking at a lot of different events, taking part in various debates and Q&A sessions. And I think actually, probably the further north, the further you get away from the Westminster bubble and maybe the media bubble and the London and the South East bubble, I think we've equipped ourselves very well here in the East Midlands, certainly. And I think maybe you might see geographically quite a spread of results as they come in during this evening and through to the early hours of the morning.
And talk to me a bit about the campaign. Obviously, it's been quite a long one. It's been quite a controversial one as well. How do you think it's gone from your perspective and from Vote Leave's perspective?
It has been quite a long campaign, both, if you like, the long campaign in the fact that, go back to 2011, myself and 81 other Conservative MPs rebelled against our party hierarchy to say that, the people needed a referendum on the EU. And we stood on our manifesto at the general election in 2015 was to deliver a referendum on the EU. Fair play to David Cameron, obviously, with our support as backbench MPs, that he has delivered that. The country has had a referendum on the EU. No other party, mainstream party, was offering that at the general election. Certainly the Labour Party weren't, and obviously we were. So I'm pleased that we delivered on that manifesto commitment. It's perhaps come a little bit earlier than I expected. We don't much hear about the renegotiation that took place. I don't think we really got much of a renegotiation from the other EU states and the 5 EU presidents who nobody can name. But ultimately that's perhaps helped us on the Leave campaign in the fact that it's brought into sharp focus to the majority of people, and actually, noting the large turnout, quite a lot of people who don't normally vote, that this referendum is their chance to have a say on the future of our country. It is the chance to give us the freedom back for this country. And whatever the result, even if Leave don't win, I think the fact that we've had a referendum shows that the EU isn't working certainly in our best interests, and perhaps not for the best interests of most of the countries already in the EU.
How do you think some of your Conservative Party colleagues, such as the Prime Minister and the Chancellor George Osborne, how do you think they've behaved in the last few weeks and months?
I'll choose my words carefully. I think everybody's campaigned to the best of their ability, and I just think that some people have perhaps not minded some of the language they've used and some of the personal abuse that they've doled out. And I'm particularly now talking about the Remain campaign, particularly singling out Amber Rudd, who did certainly the Chancellor's bidding in the fact that she personally attacked Boris Johnson. And it's been quite noticeable right across the Remain campaign that they're quite happy to play the man and not the ball, or play the woman and not the ball. And that's not something that we would normally do in the Conservative Party. It's certainly not something I think anybody in the Leave campaign that I've been involved with has done, because there's no need. There's plenty of ammunition to have a go at the EU by having a go at their policies and the bureaucracy that's in place, and the fact that we don't want an EU super state, but the EU does. The EU wants us to have the euro. We don't want to have the euro. The EU wants us to have an EU army, and we in Britain don't want to have an EU army. So there's many things that we can have a go at, and we haven't needed to be personal at all. I've not referred, and neither has Boris Johnson referred to people he doesn't want to go home with in a taxi. It'd be very easy to hit back with those type of comments, but there was no need. But the comments that have been aimed at him specifically, but actually others on the campaign, on the Leave campaign, has been pretty disreputable, to be honest with you. And it probably hasn't helped, help make people make the decision. It is what you do in debates, it is what you do in campaigns, but actually we should be above that, and it probably didn't help at all in making the, if you like, the everyday voter who perhaps doesn't take a vast interest in the intricacies and nuances of mainstream politics. It probably didn't help them at all in coming to a conclusion about which way they should vote. In fact, it probably unfortunately put them off.
So next time you see Amber Rudd in the House of Commons, do you walk on past her or do you stop and have a chat?
I've seen
with
her, and I've seen some of the comments that her and some of her coterie have made towards Boris and people who are very close to Boris, and it's pretty unedifying, even in the privacy of the House of Commons. And I don't think things will be forgotten lightly. Most politicians have a very long memory.